Welcome back, guys, to Ace Attorney Investigations 2, Prosecutors Gambit, where last episode, hearing Canis' testimony alongside Gavel and Winner, we learned that the hand chisel found only had Knight's fingerprints on it, and not the assassin's. Before we examine the security video further, finding out the animal attacker was not a dog, but a bear wanting to get back to its disguised owner, Carcerato. With Lagarde arriving with her guards, we pointed out that one of them was an escapee thanks to yet another bear interjection, as we now take the criminal's testimony. Well, come on then, move your best shot. Mr. Carcerato's escape route led directly into Knight's cell, so it's highly possible that he has something to offer. Tell me what you were doing on the day Mr. Knight's body was discovered. Testimony indeed. Around the time of discovery. So it was you guys, huh? You're the ones who found my secret getaway tunnel. You know how long it took me to dig that freaking thing? I had me a guard's uniform, a hole dug, and a plan in place I went for on the day you found the guy. But then this little guy just had to come right after me. The sack of fur was covered in mud too. I had to go back to our cell. I would have gone away with it if somebody had an off night and brought you bums down here. You claim to have dug that tunnel just now. How exactly did you do it? How? Used everything I could get my hands on, see? Hammers, spoons, you name it. Spent every dime I had on this cockamamie fixer. What do I get to show for it now, huh? Do not be disheartened, friend. Tomorrow is another day. There's an outside chance Mr. Carcerato and Knight met face to face just before Knight's death. I should see what other details I can extract from him. Sounds like a pressing spree to me. So it was you guys, huh? You're the ones who found my secret getaway tunnel. Hold it! The tunnel you... Shut up! Who are you telling to hold it? The tunnel you said you... You don't know nothing! You don't know what I had to do! I had to come crawling to the fixer monk. I had to grovel and kowtow day after day after day. How are you gonna give me back the hours, huh? The days? The months? I can't get a word in edgewise. You should have never stuck your nose in my tunnel. Never! It wasn't very well hid. Well, I mean, it was on your end, but not on the escapee end. You know how long it took me to dig that freaking thing? Hold it! So the tunnel was all your own work? Every inch. You see anybody else in my cell when you was there, huh? That's quite an effort, even for an athlete. Yeah, now that I think of it, that is an insane amount of digging for one guy. Yeah, well, you don't even know the half of it, kid. But it ain't like I had a choice. Trust nobody and don't get caught. Them's the rules a con's gotta live by. Didn't even have, like, shoring up structures or anything. Surely it could have collapsed on you. Huh. You know, the rules of being a great thief are pretty similar. Okay, I'd rather you didn't start sympathizing with the suspect. I was just joking, Mr. Edgeworth. It ain't no stinking joke to me, you punks owe me. I had me a guard's uniform, a hole dug, and a plan in place, so I went for it on the day you found the guy. Hold it! The uniform, was that from the fixer too? Sure was. Heard he had something on one of the guards. Had the guy swipe it from a pal's locker. And were you wearing it when you were crawling through the tunnel? Nope. Would have got dirt on it. Had to hold on to it until I got to the holding cell. But once I was out of there and all dressed up, opening up the cell door should have been a piece of cake. Here we go, I thinks. Freedom beckons. And then the furball here jumps up at me. Which would be the moment captured on camera. I see. I'd be grateful if you could add that to your testimony. Once I was out of that tunnel and all dressed up, opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake. Now, why is this exactly? So, I'm starting to envisage a scenario where a certain knight was knocked unconscious at this point by the person who left the keys somewhere and then pretended to be unconscious too. For more than a day, though, wasn't it? Hold it! Opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake, you say? Sure, anything seems easy after dragging yourself through a hole in the ground. And you were familiar with the layout of the detention center, even though you live in the prison. Why wouldn't I be? It ain't like I've never been there before. He took a right hook then, didn't he? If he's familiar with the detention center, then he'd surely be aware that unlike the doors in the main prison, the holding cell doors are locked with actual keys. And I'm sure Mr. Carcerato would have needed that particular piece of evidence to make his escape. But then this little guy just had to come right after me. Hold it! When was it that you realized you were being pursued? Right when I'd gone out of the tunnel. Right when I thought I was home free. Ah. You didn't notice anything before that, when you were in the tunnel, perhaps? Ah, he wasn't around. I made sure of it. You, the little guy, would have been all over me like a rash if he had been. I was so close, I could smell it. And then there he was, the little bum. Hey, don't you think you're being a little mean to your friend? Poor Teddy. Mean nothing. He rumbled me last time, and now he's rumbled me again. Kid's all over me. What am I supposed to do? Coming after me yesterday was bad enough. The sack of fur was covered in mud too. I had to go back to our cell. Hold it! You didn't consider trying to escape with Teddy. Would if I could have, but all that mud would have given us away. Chances to break out of the slammer don't exactly grow on trees, pal. When one comes along, you gotta do it right. Followed by the one who loves him most, it's almost tragic. There's an outside chance Mr. Carcerato and Knight met face to face just before his murder. I should listen carefully to each of his statements and look over the evidence we have. So I think the statement we're looking for is the newly gained statement from our pressing. Which is once I was out of that tunnel and all dressed up, opening the cell door should have been a piece of cake. Because of keys? Which means you knew beforehand as well? Is this because of the guard that the fixer had things over on them? Objection! I mean, they weren't found anywhere. Were they just chucked down the hole? You claim that leaving the holding cell would have been a piece of cake, as you put it. Yeah, you got a problem with that, because we can make it a problem if you catch my drift. Even once you had reached Knight's cell, you still had another door to contend with. How exactly did you plan on opening it? Mr. Carcerato, I posit that leaving the cell would have been a piece of cake only because you had the key. I don't got no stinking key. I didn't need one. It was a piece of cake because the door was open. I'll walk right out. You didn't walk out of anywhere. Objection! I'm pretty sure in the video it shows it closed. Yes, I suppose Knight's cell was vacant by that point. There would have been no reason to lock it. And it was indeed unlocked when I went to examine it for myself. So perhaps when you'd finally succeeded today, it truly was unlocked because it was after the murder. But you had attempted to escape previously. Yeah, the security footage shows when you tried and fell because Teddy caught you. Which was during the circus performance, before the body was discovered. The holding cell was still locked at that time because no one knew that Knight had been killed yet. Therefore, you must have had the key to his cell on you. Without it, your escape would not have been possible. Are you saying? Could he really have? I believe he could, yes. The theft of the keys was in fact perpetrated by none other than Mr. Carcerato. He is the one who attacked the guard. Oh, I thought the guard did it. But not just the guard, Knight too, all to gain possession of the guard's keys. It wasn't me, a lousy bum. I didn't even know this Knight guy. Objection! After you stole the keys, you went back to your cell to avoid suspicion. And then you waited for the perfect moment to escape. A moment when the prison would be almost deserted. That's right, the moment of the show. Just before the discovery of the body. Unluckily for you, that particular attempt was thwarted by your furry friend. Zazua, you got proof, genius. This ain't your win yet, nah. Knight knocked the guard out for the count, and everybody knows it. Objection! Don't play games with me. Knight was as much a victim as the guard in this case. As a matter of fact, I have proof that Knight had been attacked in his cell. Do I? I mean... Oh, yes. I was about to say, well, he dead. You're meaning the blood. Take that! I'm a good prosecutor, defense attorney. Well, he dead. We found traces of Knight's blood on the cleanly white floor of his cell. What could possibly explain such a thing other than him having been attacked? And it was you who attacked him. You ambushed the both of them and stole the keys. Why are you order? What's with you, huh? That newspaper wiped that blood up good. Ain't no way you should have found it. Okay, but why did you think you had to wipe it up anyway? They checked Knight in the guard's hands. They would have seen those two never came to blows. That bloody give up the whole game. Ain't no way they don't figure there was a third man in the ring. Plus, once they started sniffing around on the floor, they'd have found the tunnel in a heartbeat. So you wiped up the blood to buy yourself a little more time, so you could wait for a better opportunity. Sadly, the opportunity you sought wasn't good enough to get you clear of the prison, it seems. Now, hand over the keys. right in the kisser. Bear abandoned ship when it knew to, though. Not that clingy, then. It will give up on you. KO'd by a lousy, stinking bum. You want keys? Here, I hope you choke on them. Mr. Knight's cell key data has been updated to my organizer. They were found in Carcerato's possession.
Overruled.
Oh, really? Wait a moment. If Mr. Carcerato here had the keys...
Indeed, Your Honor. Your theory relies on Knight having used the keys he allegedly stole to escape his cell. That was the only way he would have been able to enter Mr. Saint's cage and be moved to the workshop. Unfortunately for you, we now know that that theory cannot possibly be true. No! Guess this changes things up a bit, yeah? Now the only person who could have moved Knight's body is the one person who knew about that tunnel. No! You got me freaking! Mr. Carcerato, you're under arrest. Come quietly now, pal. Wait, you got the wrong guy. I didn't do nothing. All right, fine. I knocked those two chumps out and I stole the keys. But after that, I went right back to my cell and waited for my moment. Next time I went to a nice cell, there was nobody around. And I mean no body. Plus, his body was found in the workshop. You think I just magicked my way in there or something? I couldn't even have gotten out of my cell. Indeed, you only had the key to Knight's cell. You couldn't have left your own cell back in the prison. But Mr. Canis's dog could. What? It was not you but Helmut who moved the body from your cell to the workshop. I get it now. You're saying he wasn't the only con in this conspiracy. Indeed, one could easily imagine that Mr. Carcerato and Mr. Canis might have worked together. Mr. Carcerato could have killed Knight and dragged him back to his cell. And then, Mr. Canis's dog took him from there to the workshop. There are no restrictions on the animal's movements within the prison. Movement between the detention center and the prison proper, however, is tightly controlled. There was only one possible route, and only you could have taken advantage of it, Mr. Carcerato. How can you be so sure, huh? Maybe there's more of them, you just don't know. Something tells me that digging even a single tunnel was arduous enough. You got that right. You tried scraping more than one hole in the dirt with a spoon. Lucky for me, I didn't have to dig the whole way. Somebody already did a bunch of the work for me. What? You didn't dig the entire tunnel yourself? Nope, found it when they put me in that cell. Ran all the way from there to the well in the yard already. Even looked down the well to check it from there. It was the same tunnel, alright? I just made good on what somebody else already started. Then what was the original tunnel for? Who knows? You're the one with all the answers, pal. Maybe somebody else tried to break out.
Ooh, maybe the animals dug it. Like, to get water from the well or something?
I've heard of more plausible scenarios than that in B-grade movies, Kay. Well, strike it. Ain't no water to be had down there. So, come to think of it, a smell. Yeah, always smell kinda nice down there. Nice? Gee, I don't know. Smells sort of like dessert, I guess? A sweet scent. That sounds very familiar. Where did we come across a sweet scent before? I mean, literally, the crime scene on the body. Did I log that down anywhere? Obviously not, so I guess it must be the body. A sweet scent can be detected, yeah.
Take that!
Detective Gumshoe noticed a sweet smell when we were examining Knight's body. With the help of a police dog, we followed the scent of the body and traced its route back through the prison. And that, Mr. Carcerato, was how we found your tunnel. Could that same sweet scent be what you noticed coming from the well?
Very clever, Mr. Edgeworth. You mean to suggest that this is evidence of the body having been moved through the tunnel?
I do. Furthermore, Mr. Carcerato, you're the only person who could have done it. Nobody else had access.
You have our thanks, Mr. Carcerato. Truly. Finally the truth comes into view. Now, unburden yourself. It is time. Confess your role in this tragic incident.
What? You ain't pinning this on me. I am glad to see that we are finally in agreement, Your Honor.
Oh, if only we were, Mr. Edgeworth. Mr. Carcerato may have been an accomplice, but not of Mr. Canis. No, he was working with Mr. Knight.
Hold it! What do you mean?
I do not believe that he moved Mr. Knight's body. Instead, I believe that he lent Mr. Knight the use of the keys he stole. You gotta be kidding me! Granted, it seems likely that he attacked Mr. Knight, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Mr. Knight was knocked unconscious as a result. And what if he wasn't? What if he and Mr. Carcerato had reached a certain agreement?
What kind of agreement exactly?
Mr. Knight was plotting an escape for which he required a means of leaving his cell. And here was that precise means in the form of the keys Mr. Carcerato had just stolen from the guard. Mr. Carcerato himself would need to pass through Mr. Knight's cell in order to effect his own escape. Mr. Knight needed only to shout and alert the guards, and Mr. Carcerato's plans would be ruined. And so, the two struck a deal.
Lady, the only striking I do is with my fists.
My, still you deny it.
So, we're agreeing that we still disagree.
Mr. Knight had Mr. Carcerato unlock his cell so that when Mr. Saint arrived, he could escape into the cage. Mr. Saint was then able to move him into the prison proper just as planned.
Aha! And then he took Mr. Knight into the workshop and did the dirty deed!
Objection!
When neither of you listening, the scent on Knight's body proves that it was taken through the tunnel. It was moved from his cell to the...
Perhaps if you would let me finish, Mr. Edgeworth. I am not denying that Mr. Knight's body was moved through the tunnel.
Then what are you driving at? Is this a trick question?
As you say, Mr. Edgeworth, the sweet scent shows the route the body took. However, it did not enter the tunnel from Mr. Knight's cell. Then how did it get down there? There is another possibility, one you seem to have overlooked. The well in the yard. Could a body not have entered the tunnel from there? The well in the yard? Oh yeah, that thing! Mr. Saint did not take the cage to the workshop, he took it outside. There he killed Mr. Knight.
Okay, and threw his body down the well, the locked well, sure. Also during the show, during the 15 minutes he wasn't on after being tossed away by the elephant? Is that what you're saying? No, so I'm just gonna... Oh, you've been waiting here for a while. Stab, stab. In the neck. Ha ha ha. I'm gonna now chuck you in there. What? I mean, I guess you got your window. Still. No one noticed? That K being unceremoniously dumped.
Mr. Canis's dog then dragged Mr. Knight's body here to his owner's cell from the bottom of the well.
Not only dragged out, it's dragged up.
On that note, I would ask you to recall something. What was happening in the yard at the approximate time of the body's discovery?
The circus show, right? Regina and Simeon were performing for everyone.
Wait, Simeon? Ah! Ah, indeed. And so you see how it must also have been him who disposed of the body.
Judge Gavelle is a truly formidable opponent. She so effortlessly adjusted her theory to fit the facts.
I propose that Mr. Knight was taken to the yard, not the workshop. And as we have established, Mr. Saint was off stage for 15 minutes. Ample time to throw the body down the well, I am sure you will agree.
Well, let's get some blood tests on the area, eh?
Objection!
Your deduction is impressive, Your Honor. However, even supposing that Knight's body was indeed thrown down the well, you cannot conclusively say that it was during the show. It could have happened at a different time.
Overruled!
My sympathies, Mr. Edgeworth, but it simply could not have.
What?
Mr. Carcerato was using the tunnel at around the time the show began. Mr. Carcerato, did you happen to trip over a corpse while you were down there?
I mean, I guess you could stand up in that area, but it didn't look like the kind of tunnel where you trip over anything. In fact, it looked like the kind of tunnel where you'd be completely blocked by a body being in the way and maybe stuck. No, place was clean. Yeah.
If the body had been at the bottom of the well before the show began, Mr. Carcerato would have seen it. However, he saw no such thing.
I mean, he saw no such thing either time, so it doesn't really show time either?
Which makes it somewhat difficult to support your theory. Furthermore, Mr. Nicebody was discovered in the workshop after the show.
I guess, of course, the cell was locked. And he would have been in the cell, is what you're saying. So it would have been dragged past him.
In summary, the body must have been thrown down the well and moved to the workshop at some point during the show. Tell me, who else could have done that but Mr. Saint?
No!
What do we do, Mr. Edgeworth?
If the body did indeed enter the tunnel from the well, things don't look good for Mr. Saint. Still, Your Honor, your theory is still just that, a theory. And I posit that you lack the evidence to back it up.
I concede that. For the moment, I do not.
May I suggest that we investigate the yard again?
Very well. May the goddess of justice go with you.
What, you're not coming? Now then, to the yard. Perhaps we can finally put this case to rest. What's that sound?
Yikes, is there a fire?
Somebody else escaped. Should we maybe skip down too?
Darlings, please, there's nothing to be alarmed about. By which I mean that's not an alarm, it's the dinner bell.
That's the dinner bell.
Although I suppose it is rather alarming if you aren't used to it. It certainly scared the heck out of me. I'm so sorry, Sweet Pea. I hope you forgive us. Alright, you two, back to your posts, chop chop.
Should check to see if any of them are criminals in disguise.
And as for you, Rocco Carcerato, it's time you went back to your room.
Yeah, fine, I get the picture. His room's still got a tunnel in it. Come on, Teddy, we're out of here. No wonder he went back easily. On the guard, we'd like to take one more look around the yard now.
Oh, darlings, don't you have homes of your own to go to? Visiting hours are over, I'm afraid. Tomorrow,
No, it's imperative that we investigate it right away.
I think we've had quite enough excitement for one day, don't you? Murderers, escapees, so eventful. It's time I guess went home to Betty Buys, isn't it? Yes, it is.
Ah.
Come on now, darling. Don't make me bore you with all that I am the warden, this is an order nonsense. Warden Lagarde is right. Her word is law here, and we must respect her wishes. Mr. Edgeworth, your investigation of the yard will have to wait until tomorrow. You may keep your badge for now. The matter of your standing can wait.
I bid you all good day.
What are you waiting for, kittykins? Off you go.
Fine. At least there is a tomorrow for me. Judge Gavel believes that Knight's body was dropped down the well, and then taken through Mr. Carcerato's cell to the workshop. But is that truly the case? Do the facts really support her theory? She also seems to believe Mr. Saint had to be the one to move the body. But was he really the only one with the opportunity to do so?
Come on, Mr. Edgeworth. Tomorrow's another day. We'll figure out a way to save Simeon. I know we will.
Yes, we will. I will prove that Mr. Saint is innocent, beyond a shadow of a doubt. Well, to be continued. And I say it's to be continued right now! But we still have time in this episode. So we come back again on March 29th. Everything's cleared away. We can see the yard in its entirety, the lock on that grate and everything. That tunnel must get wet. Here we are again. Let's hope we can find something this time that will finally reveal the truth behind it all. Although that might be easier said than done.
There's nothing left to investigate.
Judge Gavel's deduction yesterday.
There is another possibility, one you seem to have overlooked. The well in the yard. Could a body not have entered the tunnel from there? In summary, the body must have been thrown down the well and moved to the workshop at some point during the show. Tell me, who else could have done that but Mr. Saint? Had Knight's body really been thrown down the well? The answer to that question will surely show us the way forward. But before we begin, I should tidy up my organizer a little. Unnecessary evidence has been removed.
Remaining evidence has been rearranged. I want some necessary evidence to be returned, to be honest, to this scene, like the cage, test for blood. That's supposedly the murder scene, I don't know.
Let's see here. Ah, there's a cover on it.
I tried out well slap bang in the middle of a prison. Figures it'd be locked.
Well, luckily, I'm a master lockpicker. Want me to do my stuff?
I think not. We'll do this investigation by the book.
Come on, don't be such a stick in the mud. Whoa!
What is it, Kay?
The lock's broken. And from the looks of it, it's been broken for a long time.
If that's the case, then anyone could have thrown Knight's body down the well. Judge Gavel's theory was that Mr. Saint carried out the murder here in the yard. And then during the performance, he threw the body down the well. What are you thinking, Malzarino? Plausible or no?
Oh, why don't we see if Missile can help us out again? He'll be able to tell us if Mr. Knight's body was here and which way it went.
Good idea. I'll call Detective Gumshoe. Gumshoe speaking. Detective, I need your assistance. Come to the prison yard and bring Missile with you. You bet, sir. Gumshoe's 7 secret weapons to the rescue again, huh? I'm fairly sure Missile belongs to the precinct. I'd also like you to bring one of our witnesses. Call the Berry Big Circus and ask Miss Regina Berry to come down here with you. Yes, sir. I'll be there before you know it.
So, what should we do while we're waiting for Gummy? How about a quick game of hide and go seek?
Fun idea, kiddo, but where exactly would we hide? He's not seriously considering it. Your game can wait, Kay. We need to call on one of your more practical skills. I think you know the one.
Oh, you bet I do. One crime scene recreation coming right up. Ooh.
Say what now?
Let me show you. Introducing a great thief's great secret weapon. A little thief.
Whoa, screens appearing from thin air. This is some next level tech, little sis. Want to talk me through the deets? What are you doing now?
I'm inputting everything we need for the simulation.
Allow me to explain. This is Mr. Thief. It's a device that can recreate crime scenes at specific moments in time based on the data you feed it.
How about I start us off with a recreation of what the yard looked like yesterday?
Good idea. That was when they were in the middle of tearing down the stage. We didn't pay much attention to the well then. Who knows? We may have overlooked something.
Leave it to me. I'll use the photo I took. Beepity beep boop beep.
That's all the data. Just gotta pump the projection power to max and...
Dark skies of evening, when no other bird dares take wing. One alone remains all-seeing.
Now witness the true power of a real modern-day Robin Hood. What is this?
It's a recreation of how things were yesterday, modeled on the data I gave Little Thief. This gadget was a tool used by the original Yatagarasu, but they used it to plan robberies.
Well, there's no harm in using it for something on the right side of the law now.
Oh, but keep in mind that it can only recreate what you tell it to. It can't simulate things it doesn't have data for, and if the data itself contains mistakes, then you'll wind up with those same mistakes in the recreation too.
But this particular recreation is based on Kay's photos, so we shouldn't run into any problems. That's enough preamble. Shall we get started? Begin high-tech investigation, which looks even cooler in like the chibi art style with the lines coming off of things and stuff.
Don't forget, you can examine stuff in the recreation just like in real life. You can also present evidence to try to clear up any inconsistencies you find.
Of course. Thank you for the reminder. Now let's take a look at that well. The well is the most important thing, is it? We still got the cage on the other side, though? We got a basket. We haven't got an alligator. The important things are missing. We should examine this area carefully. It may just hold the clue we need. Well, we've always been incredibly thinking about that. So, we got a pulley, a rope, a thing to stick into someone, a weight to counterweight, and the cloth to hide the body. It's all looking like it's here. Let's start with the well itself, though. The well was behind the stage, which means there aren't many people who could have thrown Knight's body down it during the show. This is looking worse and worse for Mr. Saint. Oh, the lock itself isn't there. Let's look at the stabby thing. There's a sturdy-looking hemp rope lying on the ground. Kind of reminds me of the ropes we used for playing tug of war in school. The answer is no, Kay.
What? I didn't even say anything! Yet.
I see it also has a metal stake attached to one end.
Oh yeah, it looks like something you'd use to put up a tent.
But there was no tent, was there? In which case, what was it used for? Yes, luminol, please. It's a metal weight of some kind. It looks like it weighs... The projection makes it a little tricky to read. No, it's not. It's really easy to read on the chippy art stuff. Do you remember how heavy it was, Kay?
Sure it was. 30 pounds.
That's gone in the thing.
What does anyone need such a heavy weight for anyway?
It doesn't seem related to the circus show at any rate. What are a bunch of pulleys doing here? They don't seem to be well pulleys for lifting buckets. Well pulleys.
So what do you think all the stuff around the well was used for?
Pulleys are open a weight. What were they being used for? I can't see any of the animals needing them for their part of the performance. Indeed, nothing immediately strikes me as a likely purpose. We'll have to ask Miss Berry later. So we've examined the well, have we? For the most part. I don't believe there's any more to be found here. But it actually asks us to look again, does it? The investigation of that is not completely over, but we've got examinations of other areas to go as well, including talking to Kay too, and maybe Eddie. Is Eddie around? Eddie's around too. We got ourselves some more logic within our list. Items around the well and the 30-pound weight. Is that something we can join at this point in time? I do not know. As we end another episode of Ace Attorney Investigations 2. Let's continue examining the crime scene recreated by Little Thief next time. And until then, I say bye-bye.